Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. Chad Hyams here, Bob Stewart over there somewhere. Bob, how are you doing today?
Chad, we have a guest. We're gonna bring her on in just a little bit.
And I'm surprised you're actually not on vacation while I have a guest.
Yeah, I try to show up every once in a while because I get paid highly to do this. Or
yes,
wait,
highly.
Ben still doesn't. We still don't get paid for this.
I was gonna say I think you get twice what I get.
Yeah, we're doing math with my kids right now. 2 times 0. Yes, Yes. Our guest asked a question, which I appreciate. She asked about like language and audience. And Chad, have we talked about what we do at our house with our kids?
No. Do you have a swear jar going over there, Bob?
No, we don't have a swear jar. So,
because I think our guest needs one.
So my wife decided that our kids. Well, I'm not my wife. We agreed to this.
You have told us this. They're allowed to swear in the house.
They're allowed to swear, but only in their bedroom right now. And what we're trying to teach our children is that language has context for the environment that you're in. I have no idea if this is a good idea. I don't know if this is a bad idea. I do know that one time we got called by the principal because somebody was bullying my buddy or my oldest son Chase's friend, and Chase stood up to the bully and may have used the F word in standing up to the bully. And so, but in my head, I'm like, that was the perfect context of when to use that word to stand up to a bully, right? So in our house, Mel, if we heard something like that, right, my kids would be interested in what the context of the conversation was. And as Chad mentioned to you, we're pretty informal around here. So if you let one fly, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yes, our audience knows that when Ben shows up, we never know what's going to be coming in part of the conversation. If it so moves you, we don't sit here with a censor button and beeping anybody out on anything. Parents, you know that if your children are in the backseat learning from Bob, Chad, and whoever we bring along for the episodes, we do our best. Yet sometimes they're going to hear a word, they're going to say, what was that word? Or they're going to start giggling because they know we should be in trouble for the word we just said.
By the way, hopefully your kids are asking as many like, oh, compound interest, what was that word? As they are like, something else. So.
The bad ones. Bob, I do want to ask though, if the kids are caught saying those wrong words outside of their bedroom, is there a consequence?
Yeah, so we do we do all consequences today in baseball cards, Chad. Like they may have to, like we've got a pretty consistent rhythm of when they're allowed to open baseball cards. They have to earn the right to the baseball cards. So yeah, using inappropriate language, like on the basketball for example, last weekend, my son dropped a little one, mostly under his breath. I could hear it as the coach. I assume a parent or two on the sideline also heard it. That cost him some baseball card opening on Sunday.
Oh, that hurts because we know how important that is around the house.
These are first world problems that my children have, by the way, 100% first world problems.
Instead of not letting them open them, why don't you take their Ken Griffey Jr. rookies away from them? All right, Bob, before we get into the value of the cards, if they want to know about that, we have a whole different podcast out there that we could direct them to for that. We're going to get to the conversation that we need to have today. I want to say this. I have no idea where this is going. I don't usually say this at the beginning of a call, yet this guest really seemed to want to be prepared, and I wouldn't let our guest be prepared. So we have no idea where this is going, even more than normal, because Bob
I like the direction it's headed, though, based on her book title. I like where we're going. Like Chad knows, I have a therapist. Mental health has been a challenge for me in my life. Like, let's go.
Bob, we might get into, strange things we see in her background because we just want to go into left field just to mess with her a little bit and get her off path. Let's get to it, though. We're going to introduce Mel Doman. She might be Melissa by the end of the call. I don't know how this is going to go. So, Mel, we'll figure out how our relationship goes through this call today. Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast.
Thanks for fucking having me. I'm really excited.
Love it.
My husband says I use the F word as a comma, so I appreciate that this is a safe container for that, so we can have the real conversation, not the edited one.
Excellent. And I'm really excited about this conversation. The topic that's in your book that we're going to be talking about, cornered office, and we'll mention it again. Don't worry, plenty of times, audience. The topic in this is a really different twist on a topic that we've talked about a lot and everybody talks about a lot. Yet before we jump right into that, Mel, introduce yourself. I warned you at the beginning. You asked me, did I get your bio? I said, I don't care if I have your bio because I'm not going to read your bio. I want you to introduce yourself to our audience however you see appropriate.
Oh, wait, real quick before she does, it should be noted Mel wrote her own bio. She was kind of offended that you suggested that maybe ChatGPT had, so she is very much her own bio writer.
Okay. Let me jump in here because unlike the younger generations, as an elder millennial in my 40s, I am very proud that I still have creative thinking abilities, critical thinking abilities before ChatGPT was a thing. So no, I fucking wrote my own bio.
And meanwhile, Mel, I wish ChatGPT was here when I was back in school. It would have made things so much easier.
No, I am proud that I wrote 2 books, got a master's degree, and turned myself into an independent thinking professional without AI.
All right, I did parts of that. I didn't do the master's degree. I did parts of that too. Yet ChatGPT makes a lot of things a lot easier. Mel, introduce yourself. If you want to read your brilliantly written bio, you're more than welcome to just read it.
No, big pass. I am an organizational psychologist, a former mental health therapist. Yes, I will definitely be analyzing the 2 of you in this podcast because I can't resist based on how this is going so far. And I teach companies, leaders, and individuals how to have constructive, realistic conversations about mental health, communication, and team dynamics in the workplace. So my clients range from really large companies like Google, Dow Jones, Estee Lauder, to mid-sized companies like Orlando City Soccer Club, #believe Ted Lasso. Having an MLS team was like the dream of a lifetime. And, small companies and everything in between around the world. And I teach people how to actually have conversations, not just say they're important, which is completely useless. So very action-oriented work. And on a personal note, I live in Denver, Colorado. I have an unhealthy relationship with coffee. And I do a pretty good Chewbacca impression. If you're well behaved, I'll do it at the end.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I'm not asking a single question until I hear the Chewbacca imitation.
Then we're going to have a long period of silence, my friend. You have to earn it.
There's got to be some like deep throat. There's got to be some deep throat action there. Like it's way back there.
Bob often sounds like Yoda, but that's because he's just putting his words in the wrong order, not because he does a good impersonation. I usually give Bob question number 1. He usually jumps in. He's probably got question number 1 ready to go. Yet I just want to throw it out there. Look, we're talking to Mel, the author of Cornered Office, available by the time this episode drops, available in lots of places. We'll just send you to Amazon because it's the easiest, even though her publisher will be like, that's not the only place to get a book. Yes, it is. So we'll send you there to get Cornered Office. The thing I love about it, Mel, is that it's not about the mental health from the angle everyone else talks about mental health. The subtitle of the book is why we need to talk about leadership mental health. We're always interviewing people that are talking about how important it is for everyone's mental health and blah, blah, blah. Your book is flipping that camera around and looking at the actual leader themselves, not just what the leader should be doing for everybody else.
Oh, yeah. And I couldn't believe in the history of ever and the 8 billion people on the planet that I seem to be the first person to do that. I am very confused how we got here, but here we are. And I am just so tired of people dehumanizing these people in these positions based on a job title. It's absolutely absurd, especially with what we ask leaders to do these days. The fact that they are continuously villainized for talking about when they struggle and if they need help, it is unconscionable, especially because what we ask them to do these days, like how the hell are they supposed to do these modern day demands of leadership and act as if they are robots? They have been screwed throughout the entire arc of history, and I'm just calling bullshit on the whole thing.
Good. Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to say, as we do it again, I was just going to say before Bob jumps in, when we talk about that stuff, and just so Mel gets that, Bob, you know that I always like to say, okay, we might be a leader in the workplace. And when we hear a book called Cornered Office, right, we immediately start thinking about work leaders. Yet as a parent, we're leaders in our home. As a person in a relationship, at times we might be the leader in that relationship. Leadership is not limited to, I walk in, I punch my card, I'm here from 9 to 5. Of course, nobody does that really anymore. But that's not leadership only there. Everything Mel's going to talk about today applies in all areas of leadership of your life, audience.
And honestly, so, when you were asking about how do we get here, I mean, it has been this way since the beginning. So if we go way, 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 way back, I'm talking like back in the day before we had, civilization and language and used to, throw excrement to settle arguments. I'm talking like way, way, way back then. It is completely natural and normal. We as social creatures, we look to people who are strong, stoic, consistent to protect us from our environments, to, give us guidance, to make us feel safe. We are very, very social creatures. This is normal. The fact that I am telling people that in the modern day world of work to challenge that base hardware that we have based on, not to be too much of a nihilist, made up services, made up goods, made up industries, made up job titles, to not build leaders up into something they're not, people get really, really uncomfortable because we all have this agreed upon, quote, concept of work and work behavior. And yes, there should be agreed upon norms, but it's gotten to the point. Did you guys see the movie Air with Matt Damon?
Yeah, Bob absolutely. Bob probably owns all the shoes.
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with that movie. And I quoted a couple of times in the book the monologue from Sonny Vaccaro when he's talking to the pre-famous Michael Jordan. And he's like, people are going to build you up into something and they're going to love you and then they're going to tear you down. And it is the most predictable pattern in human history. And I was like, no shit, dude. And when it comes to leaders, it's the same thing. We build them up as if they're a different species and that they're supposed to have different capabilities, again, based on the sociological assignment of power. And so we got here through, biological anthropology and sociological evolution and psychological biases. And I'm just looking around, quote, gesturing to everything and saying, I don't know how you expect leaders to survive, not burn out, and not act out if we're not giving them the support they need to lead businesses. It just doesn't make sense.
It makes me like, I have a different perspective today, I think, than when I came into the workforce. I definitely looked at some of the leaders that I'd, been a part of organizations as like, I don't know, infallible, like the people that like he's definitely got the answer. She's the vice president. She like, dude, you look at them in a certain way that doesn't deploy any humanity to who they are.
Correct. Do you want to hear something so ironic? And this is very real. I found a study that I referenced several times throughout the book, because if I'm going to try and break a well-held idea, I better bring receipts. And so there's like 140 sources in the book and 25, qualitative interviews. I found something called the Leadership Well-Being and Mental Illness Prototypes. Would you like to know what that means?
That's a lot of words.
Yes.
Yes.
It means that literally, based on a leadership job title, people, quote, naturally assume that leaders enjoy better mental health and less mental illness based on their position. This is a real thing.
Sure.
And so
people go, oh, she made it. They make lots of money. She's the boss. Must be nice. She can probably take off whatever day she wants. She's good, I bet.
Yeah. Oh, no way. She has a crippling anxiety disorder that she masks every day so people don't try to oust her from her perch. No way.
What are you telling us about yourself?
Listen, the folks who can't see on this thing, I'm holding up the anxiety doll from Inside Out 2, because that's my love language. And I am so open with people that my operating system is very anxious. And also, I am neurodivergent, the real kind, not the TikTok self-diagnosed kind, because you have to say that these days. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. And so I actually write about that in the book where, yes, I've written 2 books. Yes, I have my own company. Yes, I've done all these things. Yes, I have a team. And that doesn't make me any less of the same species, or that I'm precluded from having any sort of struggles with mental health. It's completely absurd. So I lead by example, because I better take my own fucking advice. So
I don't know. It seems like you've turned your ADHD into a superpower. Like it's once you can acknowledge these things, we can like harness them. Maybe, I don't know. Am I like super out of bounds there with that comment?
In our last guest or 2 guests ago, wasn't it about that same topic, Bob? That we had someone who was ADHD turned it into a superpower,
and
right?
He turned it into a superpower. Yeah.
I think it's a very dichotomous relationship. So what I mean by that is sometimes my hyperfixation and hyper curiosity and my ability to recognize patterns and all these things really help me. And in the book, there's actually a section on neurodiversity and leadership as a leadership asset. And other times, it is just a total junk punch of difficulty. And being neurodivergent is hard, and not making enough dopamine is hard, and struggling with executive functioning is hard, especially cough, cough, as a woman in my 40s. And it gets tougher as we age. So yes, sometimes it is an amazing superpower, and other times it makes basic tasks really, really hard and exhausting. So you just have to really know what your coping strategies are, what works for you, telling people why you act a certain way. Like, for example, I interrupt because if I don't say it, I'll forget it. So my coping strategy is I raise my hand, and that's my way of being like, hey, I have something to say. Or I tell people, hey, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, not trying to be rude, but if I don't say it, I'll forget it. So it's my responsibility to manage my neurodivergence and tell people why I act that way, because otherwise they'll just make an assumption that I'm an asshat or something like that based on how I act.
I love that she just said asshat and some of the other words that she has used, because I don't understand the other half of the words she says. They're so big, they got so many letters in them. I'm going to go to the
dichotomous?
Just all the big words you like to throw around. I'm like Googling over here going, quick, what the heck is
you should meet my mother. She speaks 5 languages and makes me look like an absolute moron when it comes to my vocabulary.
Have you guys ever read a letter written by like an average American in the early 1800s?
It's poetic and beautiful.
They're crazy. I'm like, what? Like, I don't know half the words in a letter that the average Joe off the street would have written to their spouse during the War of 1812 or something. Like, it's crazy.
I learned my vocabulary from SpongeBob and Dora watching with my daughter. That's where I developed my vocab. All right.
Do you guys remember Shakespeare? Like, trying to understand and interpret Shakespeare?
Totally.
I remember Shakespeare because I had a theater background, yet I'll watch the movie. I'll watch the movies that they do now because it translates it for me. Shakespeare in Love makes it much more easier to understand. All right. Before we just go off on a tangent, because
an ADHD tangent,
I warned you they're going to happen. Let's look. Our audience is made up of people of all levels, from age, self-employed to the leadership pieces in the puzzle. Let's help some leaders today.
Yes.
So I'm guessing somewhere in the book, there's the, 5 steps to success, or the 5 tools they need, or every writer has those somewhere in their book in some way. What are some of the tools we should make sure we touch on before I look up and time's up and we missed our Chewbacca imitation?
I'm going to give you a little shit real quick.
Okay.
The way I phrase it in the book is not that sort of promise, because everybody's situation is so unique and so nuanced and different. And, like the kids say, like, I don't know your life. What I do is I present a buffet of tools, and I make it very, very clear. You have to decide which of these are applicable for you, which ones are not applicable, which workplaces are telling you the type of work culture it's going to be and not going to be, and if it's willing to support your mental health as a leader or not. So
when you say the culture, you mean like, am I a police officer versus am I working in the ER versus am I in an office building?
That's industry. I'm talking per organization. So obviously each industry has its own challenges. Like, for example, leaders talking about their mental health in construction, law, finance, healthcare, pretty freaking hard and really discouraged in a lot of ways. But what I'm talking about is per company, and even in some cases per team. You want to get really, really granular because you trust when environments are telling you what they will and won't give you and what people will and won't give you. Because I can't sit here and say that every single company across the planet is going to care about leadership mental health, because I'd be setting up people for failure. So what I would suggest to the leaders, easy things they can start doing tomorrow, is if you want to talk about your mental health at work as a leader, before you get into doing that, do your back end prep. What that means is, well, if I want to start talking about this at work, why do I want to do that? I don't want to just talk into the infinite abyss. What am I going to share? Who am I going to share to? What do I want them to do with this information? What is my statement of intention telling them why I'm explaining it, what I'm planning to do with this information, and how do I want this to change potentially the dynamic between me and other leaders, me and my team, and me and the organization? If you can't answer those questions, don't have that conversation. Because what ends up happening is you get these burned out, crispy leaders who start understandably blowing up, they start acting out, they start acting differently. And that's not going to make people who work for them go, oh, they're probably going through a tough time. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Yada, 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 said no one ever. When people are in positions of power, they are highly, highly scrutinized when people are looking at them for variations in their behavior, psychological safety, etc. So you have to do that back end prep. And I want to make it very clear that leaders talking about their mental health is not an excuse for bad behavior, not by a long shot. Leaders talking about their mental health needs to be connected to an outcome. So if you haven't done it before, if you're going to start talking to your team and be like, hey guys, I realize I always say I'm fine, which a couple years ago I learned stood for feelings inside, not expressed. And it blew my mind because that is just not an emotion. And telling them, I realize sometimes I act differently. I don't want you to assume the reason. So I'm just going to, let you know if there's something going on and what I'm doing about it. And I want us to have, an open culture around mental health. And that's it. You don't have to have an open playing field of information, not an ironclad door. Just build a fence and decide what you're letting through and what you're keeping out.
I'm sitting here so Chad and I have done this for a year. I think Chad, I don't know, this is our 6th year doing this podcast, or 5th year.
Nice.
Chad and I have worked together for 15 years now, Chad. 15, yeah. And so I've shared, Mel, a lot about my mental health journey, and the people that listen frequently to the Win May Give podcast know that Glenda is the name of my therapist. And
we still can't get her as a guest. I'm doing my best. Glenda, if you're liing, contact me.
I've never said her last name.
Is Whitney.
Yeah, I've never said Glenda's last name on purpose, Chad.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Our leader talks openly. Ben Kinney's his name, and Chad and I have been with him for decades, and he speaks openly about his own mental health journey. Let's call it. Mm-hmm. He speaks about having his therapist. He talks about why he is a guy that disappears into the woods for 4 days to go on his hunting trip and shuts everything down and is only reachable by a satellite phone. By the way, he's running $1 billion company. He talks about this stuff, and it makes me wonder, do I talk openly about it because I feel like I have permission from him because he does? And is that a thing? Is that what happens when the leader sets the stage? Yeah.
Absolutely. So that is bi-directional permission. Now, typically speaking, leaders these days have been encouraged to talk about their mental health with the primary sole focus of creating comfort for other people to talk about it. Now, that is a big yes. Absolutely, let's do that. And hold on to your asses for what I'm about to say. Everybody in the workplace is a chronologically aged adult. When leaders are struggling and when they're open, in addition to, encouraging other people to be open so they can get support, there are also opportunities when people can show up for their leaders and support their leaders, because everybody's a chronologically aged adult, maybe not mentally aged, as we often find, but there is no reason not to do that. I know people who support their bosses sometimes if they're having a tough time at home, they're having something tough going on in their lives, because they understand that struggle and success coexist in the same body. regardless of job title. And so it is a bi-directional support system. I'm not saying that, the 21-year-old most junior person at the company should be mentally supporting the 65-year-old CEO. I'm not that twisted. I'm just saying that there are so many missed opportunities when leaders are presenting themselves just masking that everything is fine and hunky-dory. And they're just lying to people about their emotional capacity and not level setting their expectations. So yes, they should role model, help other people feel comfortable to open up, but also some people need to show up for leaders sometimes. That is how I feel.
Everyone's unique, right? Everyone's unique. You said it right. So there isn't the 5 steps to getting mental health in order for you, because it's not going to be the same to everybody. Yet, in your research, are there any commonalities that we see showing up that often it's like, look, here's something almost everybody needs to, if you got outside for 10 minutes every day, if you had a meditation session, are there some generic things that our audience can say, okay, I can start there while I'm waiting for the book to show up and read it?
I got 2 for you.
Perfect.
So first thing, even if you're one of those leaders that doesn't like to people, or maybe doesn't like people, and somehow you're in a leadership position, as we'll say frustrating as people can be sometimes, people need community. Leaders need community. If you don't want to talk to your team members or other people at your company about your mental health,
should they?
Good news.
Let me just ask. Let me jump in there.
What?
If I'm Bob's leader and I'm your leader, you're my. Should I be looking for community away from you? So there's still that division of when push comes to shove, I have to be the leader.
I think that they need both, and here's why. So I think that there are plenty of opportunities for leaders to create community within their team, be connected to their team, have that bi-directional support system that we were talking about before. And leaders also need community of their peers, other people who are in the position, who understand what that's like to have that struggle, because you can't ask other people who don't serve in the same role to empathize in ways that they don't have access to. They haven't sat in that position. So they need both kinds of community. But in terms of the individual leader, that's up to you in terms of where you want to start. So if you feel really twitchy at the idea of talking to your team, start with other leaders in your organization, people who understand, who sat in that chair. Now, I talk a lot about creating like peer support networks in the book and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like this formal, weird thing. It can be casual stuff like that. But people need community. So if you don't talk to other leaders about the struggles of leadership, you don't talk to anybody, it's time to go find somebody in your buddy system. The second thing is, I feel that managing mental health is as important as sleeping, eating, bathing, and breathing. And I'm not kidding. Now, I'm a former therapist. I don't like to meditate. That shit doesn't work for me. Yoga is exercise. It doesn't relax me. But I feel that each person, and this is a term I came up with and trademarked a few years ago, the mental well-being non-negotiables. Everybody should have one thing that brings them contentment and joy that is not prescribed by the wellness industry, because they don't care about personalization or things that don't necessarily make them money. Now, I'm not talking smack about all companies in the wellness industry. Of course, there are some that put out wonderful products and services that I use personally, but you have to do something that makes you feel good, that doesn't bring harm to yourself or other people. You do it at a cadence that you decide, barring death, dismemberment, hell, high water, or illness. And I am not kidding. Let me give you some examples. Mine is being in nature at least once a week. I live in Colorado, pretty easy to do. Playing with my dogs every night, even though they treat me like a physical punching bag and I have all of these bruises. I'm like, I don't understand where I got these.
Wait, what kind of dogs do you have? You got big ones, it sounds like.
No, I don't. No. They're just freakishly strong. I have a red healer mix. Her name is Lola, and she's about 34 pounds. And then we just got an 8-month-old, we think, plot hound greyhound mix named Nala. and they just love to parkour off my body.
I mean, part greyhound. That dog is not small though. It's not small, right?
She's pretty tall, but she's the same weight as Lola, so she makes Lola look like a little chunky monkey because she's a low rider. My third mental well-being non-negotiable is I go salsa dancing. That is my yoga. I do it a couple times a month, and my mind goes blank. Like, I'm not thinking about the world descending into the seventh circle of hell, and I'm just enjoying it. So if people want to like get a T-Rex inflatable costume off Amazon and dance around to Metallica in the living room once a week, I don't care what it is. You want to do coloring books with your kids. You want to go to a vinyl shop once a month and just thumb through things.
Baseball cards.
Yeah, seriously.
Baseball cards. Pick what it doesn't matter. There's no wrong answer. So
I play pickleball, Bob. I play pickleball.
Everybody in their freaking pickleball. I refuse. I'm not doing this pickleball
doing it
thing.
On principle now.
I played pickleball in 1988. We had a pickleball court in our backyard here in Washington State, Chad. So I gave it up. I already retired.
I know. You were there.
I'm just really good at rolling my ankles from my tennis days. So I'm going to say pickleball is a hard pass. But you got to have one mental well-being non-negotiable, and you got to have like a leader buddy.
You have 3. You just said we have to have 1, yet you gave us 3, so we can have.
You can have as many as you want. Okay. You can have as many as you want, but the reason I say start small is those overachievers are like, I'm going to do 7, and then they do none of them, and then they beat themselves up, and that's completely self-defeating. So I say start with 1, start small.
Okay, so that's a powerful generic lesson everybody should take on, no matter your industry, no matter your position, no matter your mental health. We should all have that one thing that for us lets our brain turn off and just makes us feel good, no matter how active or inactive it might be. Because for some people, it might be, sitting on the sofa doing something. It doesn't
might
have
be reading
to
a book, cornered office if you need one.
I see what you did there. I see what you did. I mean, listen, and you got to adapt, because I've had 3 surgeries on my left leg, and it is basically decorative now. So that doesn't make dancing very easy. So those like knee zoomy things when people have ankle surgery. I was zooming around the main floor of our house, dancing to salsa, like shimmying to salsa, because I couldn't dance and I didn't want to lose my mind. And then during the pandemic, not exactly social distancing friendly. So I was like, all right, I have hardwood floors, a mostly willing husband, and salsa music, and that's going to have to do. And it did for a couple of years. So you just got to get creative. And if you don't have a mental well-being non-negotiable that is like customized to you, there's no one to look at but yourself.
Okay, with your background.
That's such a good, easy, I don't know, maybe easy is the wrong, simple. It's such a good, simple, challenge for everybody out there. Like, what is yours?
And maybe we'll post it in our Facebook group and ask that question. Folks, come to facebook.com/WinMakeGive and jump into our group and let us know what yours is or is going to be if you did not have one. All right, Mel, you've earned Mel. You never got put never got put into the Melissa category. You didn't get in any trouble here.
At least I didn't get Melissa Beth. Then that would be next
Robert
level.
Eugene. When Gail drops Robert Eugene, I'm in big trouble, Mel. So I'm with you.
Nobody ever called me by my full name. It's okay.
Wait, what's your middle name, Chad?
Stewart. My middle name, your last name.
That's right. Okay. Sorry.
My dad, it was just tone of voice. You knew when Chad or Chad was being said around the house to know the difference.
That just made my chest jump a little bit thinking about childhood.
Okay, so you've spent a little over a half hour with us. We know we've earned our Chewbacca imitation, which we will get near the end of this. Can you tell me everything that's wrong with Bob?
What if I turned it and I was like, well, Chad, here's everything that I think about you.
The audience would appreciate that, Mel. They'd appreciate a little bit of that.
Well, I like you both, and I'm not gonna talk it. I'm gonna be a good girl and not make you feel too much.
Hey, we were both raised on the playgrounds of the 80s, though. Or Chad might have even been raised on the playgrounds of the 70s. Like, we can take a punch to the nose.
I'm more a junk puncher myself.
All right. Well, on that note, here's where we're going to go. I'm going to completely change this subject very quickly. I'm going to put you on the clock. You got 1 minute on the clock.
Okay.
I don't care if you repeat something you've already said because you want to emphasize it. I don't care if you bring up something that we didn't talk about yet. I'm going to give you 1 minute to talk about something that you want to make sure our audience walks away with before our Chewbacca imitation comes. And before she does that, while I'm giving her a second and stalling for her to think about it, we've been talking with Melissa Doman, known as Mel to people who legally don't have to call her by that, the author of Cornered Office, available to you on Amazon and other book places by the time this episode has dropped. We want you to check this out, folks. It's going to turn that lens around as you've been hearing through this conversation, and it's going to bring you some guidance on why mental health matters to you, not just you doing the best for everybody around you. No matter what position you're in, it will work. All right, here we go. Starting the clock, 1 minute.
I'm going to keep this really easy. It is really tough out in the world and really tough in our heads. And if you're a leader, I don't care what position you're in, you deserve to get the same support as the support that is demanded of you in the workplace. So if you don't feel you're getting it, please read the book and figure out how you're going to talk about what you need, why, and who you're going to talk to, because your mental health literally can't wait. And if anybody has a problem with that, bring them to me because I talk back.
There you go. If they wanted to bring them to you, how do they stay in touch with you after this call?
My website's very difficult. It's melissadoman.com.
So jealous.
Yes.
Shut up, Bob Stewart.
I'm jealous because I can't get my name for anything. Bob Stewart is like the most common name in the world.
Check out my bingo card. Bob mentioning the domain problem.
No, don't buy your own domain names and I won't have to be jealous. How about that?
So if you want me to come talk about mental health, communication, team dynamics in your workplace and, drop an F-bomb here and there and give people the actual skills to have these conversations, not just a kumbaya circle, please reach out to me. I'm also findable on LinkedIn and on Instagram at The Wandering Mel.
Did we earn it?
Fine. What do you think, Bob? Did he earn it? I don't know. Did he earn it?
Well, here's the thing, though, Mel. You kind of want to do it. I think that's why you mentioned it in the beginning. I think you like to show it off. I think you're pretty good at it, and you like to show it off. So I think Chad definitely didn't earn it, but I think I did.
Well, listen, I also sometimes use it as a cheap trick in my workshops to get people to engage with me and each other. You have never seen a sea of adult faces turn into children the minute I mention that I can do a Chewbacca impression. They're like, I will listen to whatever this bitch has to say so I can see her humiliate herself. I'm not above it.
All right, bring it on.
They only get to hear you do it. Chad and I actually get to see you do it. So let's have it.
No, they see me. They see me.
Oh, they do.
Yes, your listeners. Yeah.
We'll have to go on your Instagram and find you posting a video of it.
Oh, God. All right. Hold on. Sip of water. Clear the cords.
Mel, do or do not. There is no try.
Yes, Yoda. We're a Star Wars house after all.
Oh, pretty good.
Bob's face lit up. You're really good, Bob.
Because that's hard to get your tongue back that far. Whatever you're doing back there, that's like a deep,
the reason I'm able to do that is I was a choir girl. And fun fact, in high school, I did all county, all state, and then I sang. Do y'all remember the show Christmas in Washington back in the TNT days where they did these live recorded Christmas shows?
I didn't have cable back then. We had 4,
and
5,
I was
7.
living in Canada, so
yeah.
So it was recorded in front of a live studio audience and the sitting president at the time. And I was part of the backup choir, and I got to meet the most
Are we talking Reagan
people.
Or Bush, or who are we talking?
Bush Senior and Clinton. And
he's a lot younger than us, Bob.
I'm in my early 40s. I ain't no kid.
That's a little bit younger than me. But
farther along in the presidential ladder.
I was very, very appreciative that I got to meet Mr. B.B. King himself.
Wow.
And Chuck Berry, Reba McEntire, Brian McKnight, 98 Degrees. Mandy Moore, Chris Isaac, like all these incredible people. And so I can do those weird throat things because choir practice makes you learn how to control sounds. So fun little fact.
I was on the math team, second in state 2 years in a row, state of Washington, 94, 95. And I didn't learn any lifetime skills. I didn't learn any lifetime skills that I can show off.
You're way smarter than me.
Like I can
what about our coloring contest, Bob? You got to throw that one in while you're at it.
See, Chad and I have known each other for too long.
By the way, Bob, if you want to see 15-year-old Mel, these episodes may exist on YouTube.
Really?
I will leave it with that.
It's called American Christmas in Washington. Is that what you said?
No, it's called Christmas in Washington.
Christmas in Washington. Got it.
If you look up 1999, you'll see I'm center stage and Usher hands me a rose.
Right.
Well, thanks very much, Mel, because I've just lost Bob for hours as he will be searching YouTube to find these videos and to find some Chewbacca imitation of you to say to his kids, I interviewed Chewbacca today on the call. Folks, check out Cornered Office by Mel Doman. It's going to be a book that's going to help you put your mind where it needs to be. Join our Facebook group if you're not there yet, and let's find out what your little mental health thing is that you're going to do to take care of your non-negotiable for you. Until our next episode, as always, do good.